Welcome to a new edition of 2020. My name is John Gerges, and I'm your host for this evening's session. Today, before we begin, though, I would like to introduce my distinguished group. Here we go.
My name is Bolas Ibrahim, and I'm from St. Mark's, Scarborough.
My name is Marina, and I'm from St. Mark's, Scarborough.
My name is Mark, and I'm from St. Bouchoy, Stouffville.
My name is Rhett, and I'm from St. Mark's, Scarborough.
Excellent. So, the topic for tonight is service. Is it optional? Or is it something that, as a Christian, we have to do? Let's see what the gang has to say.
I believe that service is an act or like a kind of volunteer work that you do in the name of God.
Yeah, so service through Christ, yes. So I think when we speak about service like this, we're speaking about service towards the church. So when I think of service towards the church, or when my parents tell me you have to serve in the church, the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, youth group counselor. Or I should help out during the Mass, during the Divine Liturgy. I should help out in the church. But there's some other things that I think especially that don't get seen. Those are important services. Services of time. So it's a donation of time, basically. So I think something important to me is maintenance of the church. I think that's something big. And people don't get noticed for it or don't get recognized for it, but maintenance of the church is a big service. I think if you're not involved in maintenance of the church, you should try and help out in maintenance of the church. Whatever you can, even if it's small, that's big to me, maintenance of the church.
Okay.
It's also, I think that services in the church usually end up leading people, be it in other services or the church offers many outside things as well, you know. You can be in a service that does not involve actual services to do with the church. For example, prayers or cleaning or whatever. There's services that deal with the poor, like soup kitchens and sandwich runs and, you know, and all those beautiful things where you can also help out other people. And I believe that service should also be done, you know, to shine God's light to other people as well. You know, your works have to speak about your faith, and I really think that your services need to kind of stand out. Maybe you don't have to be recognized for it, but the act itself should be, you know, that of extraordinary value because Christ is working through you to help other people.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Marina because I believe service, the biggest thing about it is outreach. So when you outreach, you're trying to outreach not just within your own community, like for sure help out the sick, the poor, or the needy within your own community, but you should also take it a step further and see like the surrounding, your church's surrounding community, for example, or just people, for example, in downtown, or like places where you know they need, you could always help to outreach there.
Okay. So what I hear everybody saying is that it's not optional. It's basically something that you feel you need to do?
No.
When you say mandatory, when you say mandatory, it seems like a dictatorship. Like, oh, you have to serve in the church. I don't think you have to. It's something that, yes, is optional, but it's probably best to do. It's because if you think about it, God serves you 24/7. And if I have something I need to ask, the first person I ask is God. Oh, God, please help me in this. Or, God, please help me on this test. God, help me through this. God, help me arrive here safely. We probably ask God more than we thank Him, right? So the least we could do is serve Him, His people, and His house. So it's not mandatory. We don't take a whip and go behind you and say, serve in the church. But it's nice to do. It's giving back to God for what little time we have to give Him, because He gives us all the time in the day. Anytime we ask for it. It's like on demand. So, but it's probably best for us to give Him what little time we have to give Him.
Yeah, and I also think it's much more rewarding if it's optional, because then if it's something that you do on a daily basis, then you start to lose the meaning of it being a service, the meaning of you actually taking the choice and doing it yourself versus something that you have to do, right? Something that you choose to do, when you're finished doing it, you'll feel that much more rewarded.
But why?
Because I feel that the more constraints there are, the more people lose interest in doing it. You know, I feel the more that there are tight rules, the more people, it's in our nature. You like to break the rules. You don't like to follow the rules all the time. So when there's something optional left here, you can choose to do it. people will much more likely choose to do it and feel very rewarded afterwards.
I also do believe that in any prayer you offer to God, just like in the Bible, when people were sick or needy, they always went to Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ never said no. He always served them and prayed on their behalf to God. When we give up a prayer or stand in church and pray to God, we're basically asking God to serve us. And the more that you serve God, the more that your prayers will be answered, because just like He's serving you, you're serving Him as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I think the great thing about service is that there's so many different ways to go in terms of service, so that it's an option just choosing what type of service you want to do. So for whether you like to sing in the church, you could always do that. Whether you like Bullis said, if you like maintaining the church, there's always so many different options for you to choose from. So it's not something that's restricted.
Mm-hmm. And the doors are never closed. It's not something exclusive, or you feel, oh, if I like, nobody's going to want me to do this, you know? Yes. The doors are always open. You can come in any time and say, I want to do this service, and everyone's going to welcome you, and it's like a family.
Yeah. I'd like to argue the point, though, with you regarding optional versus mandatory. And I want to read a verse for you in James chapter 2. If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead.
Okay.
Do you still feel that it's optional?
Well, from
or is it
reading
mandatory?
The Bible verse, now that you mentioned the Bible verse, if it says, I believe if it says in the Bible, maybe because I already serve, or maybe because I try to do as much as I can, whatever little it is, that now that it says it in the Bible, because I do it anyway, now I feel it's more mandatory because I heard it in the Bible. And now that I think about it, it seems mandatory to me. Even though I would do it anyway, even if it was optional, I would do it anyway. But I think it's something that Jesus Christ, it's not a commandment, it's sort of an unwritten rule that Jesus Christ left us. Serve my people as I have served you. Save the people, the underprivileged, especially the poor, or visit the sick in the hospital. It says all these things in the Bible. They're not commandments, but it's probably, if it's not, maybe mandatory is a strong word. Maybe it's necessary for your own salvation.
Of course, because then again, Christ is never self-imposing as well.
Right.
You know, His rules are there written out for you, and you can choose to do them or not. Of course, as a Christian, it's always beneficial to you to do them, and it does strengthen your spiritual life. But again, not all things, you know, not everyone does every single thing. We're humans, we're weak, you know.
Yeah, like I definitely agree with them. I think these things are kind of like guidelines for you. If you follow them, it will make things easier for you. So when you say the word mandatory, it's a really strong word.
Yeah. Let's use another word. What about out of love?
I like that.
What if you feel that God loves you personally so much that He actually saved you eternally? And out of your love for Him, again, love is a verb, right? It's a demonstration, it's action.
Yes.
Out of your love for Him, you want to serve, and you can't help yourself but serve. You have to serve. No one actually comes up to you and says, you have to serve. But you feel yourself, out of your love for what God has demonstrated for us, and for you personally, you have no choice. You have to serve.
You want to serve.
You want to serve. Mm-hmm. So you're serving now with a completely different motive. It's not a matter of optional or not now. I have to serve. Because His love is just unbelievable, undeserving for everything that He's done for us. So I have no choice but to serve. Just to demonstrate my love back to Him. So service, is it an option, or do you feel it's mandatory? Or maybe you feel you need to serve out of love. We hope that it is the latter of the three. Thank you so much for attending this session, and we look forward to seeing you very soon in the future. God bless.